How wonderful to have an audience which, from the word go, is paying attention, and hopefully till the last word is paying attention, not just for my session, but all the sessions that follow. It's indeed an honor to be here this morning. I'd like to dedicate all that I say today to the 6 decades of learning that I have had in classrooms. Out of these 6 decades, 17 years has been sitting on that side, and 43 years has been sitting on this side. And believe me, the 43 years sitting this side has had more learning for me than the 13 years sitting that side. This is my message number 1 for the young generation. I have chosen as my theme today, reaching the other shore. One giant mental step forward. And my message number 1 to all of you with regard to reaching the other shore is this, that it's important that after, beyond, between, and what goes much after our formal education, that's the real test of each of our lives. Let me take this forward. 19 days ago, exactly at this time, even though we are starting a little late, this was an old tagline I wanted to use, it's still relevant. 19 days ago, exactly at this time, I was entering a new spectrum of possibilities. 19 days ago, sir, I was being wheeled into an operation theater to undergo a heart procedure. I came out of that 2.5 hours later, being witness to a brand new spectrum of possibilities. And today, after 19 days, and let me mention to everybody, this is my first event outside my home after the last 19 days. I chose to make this my first public event after 19 days. Thank you. And when I look at the other shore I have reached, in a sense, a movement from one phase of one's life to another shore of one's life, I realize, friends, that in this spectrum of possibilities, there are 3 things I can never, ever lose sight of. And what are these 3 things? My faith in the divine, my trust in those close to me, and that fund of goodwill that 60 years of being in the classroom has allowed me to have with more than 60,000 people with whom I have learned. Friends, I would call this my new FASTag of life. We all today require a FASTag to go everywhere. That FASTag of life, FTG, faith, trust, and goodwill. Faith in the divine, trust in those around you, and goodwill of all those who back you silently, openly, quietly, sometimes very, very vocally. 19 days ago, when I was being wheeled in, I did not know what I was going for. But I trusted the two people who brought me there. And the third person who was telling them long distance, yes. I trusted my wife. I trusted my daughter-in-law. I trusted my family doctor. And I trusted my son who was long distance. All of us, to reach the other shore and to understand the spectrum of possibilities, never, ever need to give up this circle of trust all of us would have. For me, friends, this is message number 2. Never, ever forget that spectrum of possibilities all of us have access to, and many a time do not give the due weightage we should. Friends, let me move forward to a third message. I ask all of you, I ask myself to reflect on certain points. The choices we all make from moment to moment. The road we all take from time to time. The pathways we all walk from day to day. The goals we all talk about. And the destinations we all seek to reach. I just have one question for everybody on this. How much of our self-reliance as individuals is important? How much of our being self-reliant as a community is important? And how much, and I'm using a Gen Z term now, given by one of my students to me before these 19 days, how much does our main character energy as a nation make us what we are? Our self-reliance, our self-reliant community, and our main character energy. Gen Z tells me this main character energy is the star of our story. Gen Z tells me that this is the lifestyle choice that we all make. I ask all of you, in 2047, when Bharat celebrates 100 years of its independence, those in the rear rows in 2047 will all be in their early 40s by then. I know some in the first row also may be in their early 40s then. But remember, when India achieves 100 years of independence, you will be in the prime of your career, your 40s. And in that prime of your career, your self-reliance, your community being self-reliant, and at the end of the day, the nation you are part of, its main character energy is what takes you forward. This, my friends, is my message number 3 to each of you. Let me come to the fourth point that I'd like to make in the remaining 4 minutes, 55 seconds that I have. My fourth point is a very simple point. I go back to my fast tag. Faith, trust, and goodwill. When I return to faith, trust, and goodwill, is this the key idea we all would like to spread as we move forward? Faith in the divine, which actually means faith in ourselves, because the divine is present in each one of us. Trust in those around us, because we decide who is around us. And the goodwill we encash, for the good that we have done across the world. Friends, I would want to leave with you 3 A's: our attitude, our aspirations, and our approach. Attitude, aspirations, approach. And let me use a term we all use in our native languages for all the 3. For attitude, our drishtikon. For aspirations, our akanksha. And for our approach, marg. Drishtikon, akanksha, or marg. Friends, take out the first letter of all the 3. Drishtikon, akanksha, and marg. What do you get? Dam. Da from drishtikon, A from asha, akanksha, and ma from marg. Dam. Dam, our strength, our vision, our inner purpose is what my message 3 is. That is what will take us forward. My final 2.5 minutes is for the final 2 points I want to make. What is that one giant mental leap forward? In the Bhagavad Gita, there is a very famous passage. Arjuna was in a dilemma. Here is my teacher, here is my uncle, here are my cousins, here are so many I knew throughout my life. How do I wage a war against them? It is then that Krishna tells him, at this moment, you are fighting a dharma yuddha. And you need to, I quote now the critical words, you need to emancipate your mind. Unless you emancipate your mind, you will not be able to fight the dharma yuddha. My friends, the one giant mental leap forward to achieve the spectrum is that one giant mental leap of transforming our minds. This is my message number 4, my final message. Let me go back to the Buddha. It is said about the Buddha that he used to answer all the brilliant questions asked to him. There was one young boy who said, I want to test the Buddha. Can he really answer my question? So he went up to the master and said, Master, I have a question. The Lord said, ask your question. He said, no, master, you must give me the correct answer. The master said, I'll try. And then the boy asked his question. He said, Master, I have a bird in the palm of my hand. Tell me, is it dead or alive? What was the boy's plan? If the master said alive, he would sadly crush the bird, open his hand and say dead. If the master said dead, he would open the palm and the bird will fly away. Either way, the master would be wrong. The master looked at the boy and said, young man, whether the bird is dead or alive is in your hands. Whether that bird is dead or alive is in your hands. So friends, if we have to open up the spectrum of possibilities, if we have to reach the other shore, if ideas have to become a reality, it is not in our hands, it is in your hand. It is in your hand that change will come. So to end, friends, it is in my hand. Thank you for being such a wonderfully patient and participative audience. Good luck, Godspeed, and all the best.